Life Audio.
But there might be other things, like in other areas. It's all about what fear is holding you back. And that's where people don't always know. But as you journal it out and actually see yourself writing it, you're like, ooh, that one keeps popping up. I don't think I realized that one might be holding me back.
Hi, I'm Lex Howard, CEO of Balance of Nature. When I think of Independence Day, I think of flags lining the street of my neighborhood. I think of good quality time spent with my family and the amazing spirit of our founding fathers. Celebrating America is important. True patriotism involves an ongoing commitment to founding values. Patriotic Americans unite to protect our founding values of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. True patriotism involves celebrating the rights and freedoms we enjoy as Americans. We have the freedom to pursue the American dream. We have freedom of speech. We're able to call for change and stand as forces that will help shape our nation for future generations. To be a patriot is not an event. It is a constant battle and pursuit. Happy Independence Day from Balance of Nature, and God bless America and her people.
Hello and welcome to the Encourager Podcast, where we have encouraging conversations to help you joyfully harmonize your home and work life. I'm your host, Rebecca Scott. I'm a wife, mother, designer, coach, and author. I'm here to help encourage and empower you to confidently make decisions that work for you and your stage of life, whatever that might be. Hello, encouragers. On this week's podcast, I want to talk to you about a subject that can be, it already makes my skin go, ooh, here we go. But I got a guest that will walk us through it in probably the kindest way possible, and also a way that will make us take action. So Ellie Saxer is our guest today, everyone. Welcome, Ellie.
Oh.
You and I got to do the podcast where we talked about my 250th episode. And one of the things that I said I wanted to aim for this year is giving them an action plan they can do in like the first 10 minutes after listening to a podcast. Because I think, we just get so inundated by content that it's like, okay, I'll do that later. I wanted to be able to like move the ball forward and encourage them immediately. So we have a resource for that at the end here. So stay tuned for that.
Yes, we do.
But today's topic is how to get uncomfortable, which is the opposite of what all of us want. Like every product out there in service is how to be more comfortable.
I'm just looking at you right now. You're like, I just want to itch my skin.
I know, because as much as I'm like, I'm a trailblazer and I do hard things and I do this, but comfort-wise, I'm like, no, thank you. Why do I simplify things? So I'm more comfortable. And so I want to know from your perspective, why did you pursue, because this is one of your keynotes, I believe.
It is.
Why did you pursue this subject?
There are so many reasons. I'm going to try to narrow it down. Still in the back of my brain, I remember a sermon, and this has to be 20 plus years ago.
Okay.
And I distinctly remember a pastor saying, God does not want us to be comfortable. He does not want you sitting still. Mm-hmm. So if I were to say the word comfortable, how would you define it? Like, what are the words that come to your mind?
Cozy, predictable, comforting. Use the actual
That's
word.
Great, right? Like today, it's raining outside, and like a lot of people are like, oh, I just want a blanket and my hot cup of tea and a fireplace. And that sounds so great.
Yes.
But when we're comfortable, are you growing?
No,
you're not being pushed. And so there have been many moments in my life where I just sought. I just wanted to seek comfort, but I could feel God pressing upon me like, no, because I need you out. I need you out moving. I need you out growing. I need you out doing things that I need to do in you and through you. And I really felt like, oh, that's what the pastor meant. Like he didn't want to like hurt. It's kind of that, like you said, like that, like, oh no, something is coming. And it's true. And I know that you know this well as well. And so many of your listeners are like, oh, it's through those harder times.
Absolutely.
Sometimes the really, really hard times that we are grown and molded. It's like that jar of clay, right? Like it's sometimes we break but it's filled back in with gold and silver to really be refined. And so that's where it's getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. In fact, there has been, you heard the comfort zone, get outside of your box, your comfort zone.
Yes.
So there's actually, I'm such a dork. So there's two scientists, Yerkes and Dotson in 1907 that did clinical trials, and they defined the zone. So there's your comfort zone. That's right in the middle where we all want to stay. And then right outside of that is your stretch zone.
Okay.
And then there's your panic zone.
Okay. I love the extreme there.
Right. And so everybody's zones are different sizes. And so when you think about comfort, we define that. Then there's your stretch where you're like, oh, okay. And then if you get outside your stretch zone, then there's panic. And we know what panic feels like. Like, whoop, nope, I can't breathe. I can't do this. We might cower down. We might even have it like the panic attack. The idea is the more we stretch, the bigger our comfort zones get. But we don't want to stretch. We don't want to go too far. We don't want to do too much at a time. Otherwise we will hit that panic zone and that can inhibit us. So there's reasons for it. So the whole point is, well, why? And there's never been a better time to stretch yourself than post-pandemic. So we know that anxiety, panic attacks, depression, when you kind of lump mental health together, has increased globally by 25%. And because we were all secluded, we were all to our own selves. And that's because we don't know what to do with our emotions. So our emotions are controlling us rather than us controlling our emotions. So the idea is if we can kind of understand what these emotions are, so rather than that roller coaster up and down and controlling us, we can be like, oh, I recognize that, and we can kind of level it out. So I'll give you a scenario, and then I'll walk you backwards. Okay. So one of my comfort zone exercises that I did that probably, like I still kind of, I remember how I felt like.
I love the visual. If you guys can't see, obviously there was a tongue out.
There was, yep. So I would have I would call the Midwestern bubble and then some. Like I'm not like I have that big bubble. Like we're not much like, we like our personal space. Yeah. We live in the Midwest. We're rural people. We like our space. I'm not much of a hugger, especially if I don't know people.
Right.
And so the comfort zone exercise I gave to myself was that I was going to hug a stranger and I was going to initiate it. And I was going to initiate it at Target, outside of Target, and
public Target, everyone.
Yep. And so to a lot of people, like, that's no big deal. But to me, this was causing me to have like a little bit of a panic, like anxiety, like, whoa. So to be intentional. So the whole point is to be intentional. So I sat in my car and I'm taking notes. How am I feeling right now? Why am I feeling this way? Like, and what are the like physical and emotional feelings? So I'm sweating. Okay. I want to throw up. But why? Because I don't want to do this. What if I get rejected? What if they say no? But then it was like reading through those things of, well, okay, so they say no, I'm not going to die. So I'm walking myself through the logical, yeah, they might say no. They could smell bad.
There's that.
Right. But
so you de-escalated the escalation of feelings.
Exactly. So I was trying to identify why was I feeling the way I was feeling? And in the end, well, logically, I can do this. I still don't want to. And I remember getting on the car, still sweating, still like, okay, but I can do this. And I stood in front of Target and I let the first few walk by going, I was like, you know what? I'm going to be appropriate. I'm going to hug a woman. And a woman walked up. She was a little bit older than I was. I said, can I give you a hug? And I do remember she looked at me a little funny, like, sure. Gave her a hug and she just went on her way. I'm like, what? I did that. And I'm still breathing. I'm fine. Yes. So I went back to my car and I wrote down, now how do I feel? And I felt exhilarated because I had accomplished. Yes. I did it. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm going to go do it again. So I went back and the next lady, I gave her a hug and she turned around, she goes, you have no idea how much I needed that today.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay. So then I gave myself, I'm like, I'm not quitting until I get a no.
Oh my gosh.
It was like 4 or 5 people until someone's like, no, thank you. And that kind of that disgusted face. Right. Like, and I was like, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay with this. So when I was done, I went back to the car. I wrote down how I felt. But I remembered how I felt. I remembered that like, oh, I don't know. And at that time I was still in like individual sales. Okay. So I remember not too long after, a couple of weeks later, I remember having to face a pretty big sale. And I was having some of those feelings again, kind of like, I don't know. Like,
Right.
Wait a second. I remember that feeling. I remember I was okay. I can manage this feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped not only raise my confidence in that boardroom.
Sure.
So again, I'm managing my emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So my comfort zone is growing because I was able to stretch myself.
Yes.
So that's really the whole idea of comfort zone exercises. I'm expanding my comfort zone because I'm now stretching myself. So that's kind of the whole exercise. So when I look at young folks, like, and I talk to a lot of youth, I talk to other women and some men, it's all about our comfort zone is to be expanded into a stretch,
yes,
so that we can manage these emotions. It's fear, it's panic, it's anxiety. And if we can understand and manage those ups, those downs, those emotional, these physical, and sometimes spiritual, and kind of do the logical of we're going to be okay here. And my sister, she's an incredible, she's a lieutenant colonel. She's been in the FBI. She always says I can't be the stupidest person that's ever done this before. Like, I can figure this out. Like, it's just, again, you have to get those things, those mantras in your mind. You just get yourself through it.
I have so many thoughts because as you've listened to Ellie be our frequent guest, she's like the most bubbliest, kindest person ever. So the first time that I heard she wasn't a hugger, I was like, what? I hug her every time. So you've done a great job.
You're in my circle.
Okay.
We have a circle of trust.
Well, you've done a great job of camouflaging. And the other thing I think is like important to remember, you guys, is that first of all, you identified not just what you were feeling in your head, but like where physically is this showing up? Because that is a lot of like, sometimes we can't find the words, and it's okay not to be able to pinpoint the word, but chances are your body is communicating a word. So, listen to that part. And then I can't help but think, you go back to your car. First of all, I would have been like, check mark, done, headed out. So of course the overachiever in you was like, let's do it again.
Yeah.
But just on the other side of that, just on the other side of doing this exercise, boom, a mindset shift where you show up in a boardroom with undoubtedly big wigs and maybe possibly made the largest sale of your life. All because you did a simple action of like, I'm going to face this head on by a hug. A hug in a parking lot gave you that much more confidence to step into zones that we didn't think we could do. Like, oh my gosh. So I would ask the listeners, as you're listening to this, what is one thing that you could do to get outside of your comfort zone? What would that take? I can't answer that on the spot either. So you guys have to follow up with me on Instagram and Facebook. I'll think of something. But man, I'm like, that's a simple act. While it was uncomfortable for you, that would be uncomfortable for me, and I'm a hugger. And I would still be like, no. But it's so true. It took 5 people. That was my other takeaway, is it took 5 people until somebody said, no, thank you. And they were polite about it.
Now, had we been in New York, maybe it was like a person like, right. Get out of here, you crazy. Like,
only practice this comfortable thing in the Midwest, everyone. Just kidding. But, 5 people. It took 5 people before someone was like, no. Mine would probably be getting comfortable with someone saying no.
We have to figure out, like, we all fear a lot of the same things. I mean, like, there's snakes, there's spiders, there's sharks. Sharks a big one for me. But then there's the fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of what other people think of us, in judgment, right? Those are a lot of the same that are underlying what we do. So I've been talking about this quite a bit. So I created what I call a comfort with uncomfortable planner. So you can start at any time in the year.
Okay.
And it walks you through, it's a week by week planner. You start at the beginning of a year, but in the months, and it breaks it down by week. And what the idea is you choose 1 to 2 comfort zone exercises. You plan them in your week.
Okay.
And then you figure out when you're going to do them. But the whole idea is it's intentionally, so you can write down, how am I feeling right now? Why do I think I'm feeling this way? You do it, and then you write down, well, how am I feeling now? What did I learn? And so you can reflect upon and hold yourself accountable. But at the end of this comfort zone planner is an exhaustive, obviously not everything, but a whole list of different exercises that you could try from different points of view. So for me, it was the hug, but there are things in there that go to a convenience store and negotiate the cost of a candy bar till you get it half price, or negotiate till you get it free. Some people are like, why would you do that? Why not? Are you afraid they're going to say no? Or are you afraid you actually might get it for free? Or are you afraid the guy behind you is going to judge you? Like, what is it you're afraid of? And you have to journal that out. Like, what is it that you're afraid of?
So you even give examples in this resource.
Exactly. There are, I think, 6 pages, like it's hundreds of examples. The one that I talk about a lot is, and I got this from a friend of mine. I took a large stuffed animal. It's almost the size of me. It's an elephant. I took it out to dinner in a public place with me. So that was my dinner date.
Okay. Now it's getting uncomfortable, everyone.
So, and those are like, but sometimes it's just go skydiving, which you and I are doing. Or maybe it's, but some people, just to go to dinner alone is outside your comfort zone, right? So sometimes I list, here's the comfort exercise, but here's the advanced version. So go to dinner alone, comfort zone, advanced, take a stuffed animal.
Oh, this is going to be so fun. You guys, think of this on social media, everybody. Bonus points, 1,000 bonus points if you do the stuffed animal thing. I'm just saying. Oh, this is going to be so fun. Okay. And uncomfortable, by the way.
It's uncomfortable, but what I guarantee you is, yes, you can have fun with it. Some people do it with their families. Some do it with a spouse or a significant other. Some invite a friend to do it with them. Like they'll do the first year on their own, and then they'll amp up the second year and invite someone to do it with them. Okay. But what I guarantee you is you will see your comfort zone grow. Like my comfort zone is pretty much just obliterated. Like I don't really have one anymore. But what I would tell people is if they would have known me years ago, and I've gone through a lot of trials in my life too, but I'm not the same person. My confidence level is completely risen. And I don't fear walking in front of a boardroom. I don't fear walking and speaking in front of a lot of people, but it's because I've also done some maybe stupid things, but I don't fear like, hey, I noticed this candy bar wrapper is a little wrinkled. Do you want to sell it for half price? Sure. They'll tell me no. Okay, whatever. But I also try to have fun. It's never, I think the couple of rules you should follow is you do it respectfully. You're not being rude.
Sure.
If people are like, why are you trying this? I'll tell them why. And oftentimes it's sharing, okay, have you ever thought about trying to expand your comfort zone? And it's helping other people in their career and their journey to confidence. Yeah. But that's what God wants for us, right? Yeah. He doesn't want us to be stifled. Nope. He doesn't want us, again, to be comfortable. Because it's not comfortable sharing his story. And a lot of times that's what holds us back, right? Like the disciples were not comfortable.
Yes. It's so many thoughts too. The more that I'm studying my Bible and the more I'm learning too about the disciples is like, they were babies, first of all, you guys, like they were babies and extremely uncomfortable, leaving behind families, leaving behind generational jobs, all that stuff. So this does make sense for that. And I've also heard the phrase used frequently, like you can't grow if you're comfortable. And that is true. So if you pair that with what Ellie is telling us, I can't help but think like, dang, I want to grow. I want to feel that. I feel like I'm already pretty self-confident, but I'm like, ooh, what would happen if I was that much more?
Sky's the limit.
Right.
Like coming from a woman who has no qualms about putting on a costume and
correct.
Dancing her butt off. But there might be other things like in other areas. It's all about what fear is holding you back. And that's where people don't always know. But as you journal it out and actually see yourself writing it, you're like, ooh, that one keeps popping up. I don't think I realized that one might be holding me back.
And here's the thing.
Sometimes it's our kids that see it or our friends see it and we didn't see it.
I'm always big on like collecting data, like review your launches, review your products, review your family, gather data. This is a data exercise. You can keep seeing the data and seeing the common themes of like, this keeps popping up. And guys, this was without a therapist. So you can digest this for a year or 2 years or 5 years if it takes you to come out with it, but you get to digest the data that you are collecting on your own mind and body. That's very valuable. Okay.
So if you haven't been convinced enough, let me just, so comfort zone, when those scientists were doing it and they were asking people to find how they felt in their comfort zone, here are some words: feeling safe, low risk, low reward, low satisfaction. They're stuck, bored, safe, fine, same old, no fire, and no looking forward to getting out of bed. Ooh. Oh, who wants to stay there?
No.
But in their stretch zone, they were feeling challenged, eager, excited, learning, growing, stimulated, adrenaline, reaching full potential, and passioned, realized. So if those are things that you're seeking and your confidence, like, there's no limit to your confidence. Right. People are like, oh, my confidence is where it should be. There's no limit to that. Or if you feel like people are stealing your confidence, if you're like, oh, when I walk into a gym and everyone's looking at me, I guarantee then there's room for you to grow in your comfort zone.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, this is going to be fun. Okay, so when this comes out, Ellie, we're going live together. So we'll tell you guys both on our email list and on the social media to tune in, because we're going to talk about some exercises. I don't even want to say this out loud because now it's being recorded, and Ellie, now we have to do it. And she will hold me accountable. I'll pick a few of these steps within your document, within our resource, if you will, to do. And
yep, it's all on my website, elliesaxer.com. It's pretty easy. Okay. It's the only resource that's on my website
right now.
It's right now. It's live. It's there. And again, you don't have to wait till the beginning of a year. This isn't like a resolution thing. It's a fill in the date when you start.
Yes. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. Okay. I think it is. I am about to get uncomfortable, and so are you, encouragers. Let's follow up both on our social media challenges and make sure that you're on our email list so that you know when we're going live. We'll also provide a link direct to that resource so that you can start being uncomfortable, because remember, on the other side of this, it could be a huge new arena that we have been praying for and couldn't get there without addressing some of the past uncomfortableness that we had.
But I really think it sparks that light that God wants you to shine so brightly for, because something is stifled, right?
Yes.
Anytime we're in our comfort zone, our light is a little bit stifled, and He wants that light to shine brightly for Him. And
oh my gosh, think about this too. This is where I went. If you've watched The Chosen, remember when Nicodemus has the opportunity to be uncomfortable and to follow Jesus, and in the moment he says no. Don't be him. Like, no. Be the examples of the ones that are like, this is extremely uncomfortable, this is extremely unknown. Here I go. That's the message that we got to take from here. It's like, what is on the other side that God has prepared? Yes. Get out of the boat. Okay. So thank you for encouraging our listeners today, Ellie. Until next time, encouragers, we got this because He's got us. Thanks so much for tuning in. If the Encourager podcast has helped or encouraged you in any way, please subscribe to the show and leave a 5-star review. And then help us spread the message of encouragement and hope by sharing the podcast with others. Ready to bring more organization and joy into your life? The Encourager Academy helps you harmonize your home and work life through our online course and coaching programs. Our 5-system approach, me, food, family, work, and home, tackles your biggest obstacles, offering lifetime access to video lessons and guided worksheets. Learn at your own pace with practical tools and strategies. Enroll now at encourageracademy.com and use code WeGotThis for $50 off. Are you ready for clarity and purposeful progress without the overwhelm? Join the Clarity Blueprint membership community. Transform your life with like-minded women taking small, meaningful steps twice a month. Access monthly calls, worksheets, videos, guest speakers, and a supportive community with a very affordable price. Say goodbye to chaos and hello to purposeful progress. Visit theencouragerpodcast.com and join today.
No matter what you're going through, you are not alone. Sis, if you've experienced pain in your father-daughter relationship, I want you to know that you are loved and seen. I'm Kia Stevens, host of the Hope for Women with Father Wounds podcast, and I created my show to help you exchange your father wounds for the love of God the Father. Join me for encouragement, wisdom, and scripture. Just search Hope for Women with Father Wounds on lifeaudio.com or wherever you get your podcast.